OnePlus has always been known for selling powerful phones at low prices. Over the years, that mantra has slowly faded away as costs have gradually gone up on their increasingly premium devices, but the new OnePlus 5 is still hundreds of dollars cheaper than most modern flagships. From a design standpoint, the OnePlus 5 is anything but exciting. A million comparisons have already been made to a certain other popular phone on the market, but just because it isn't entirely unique doesn't mean it's poorly designed. In fact, I really like the OnePlus 5's hardware. It's thin, it's rounded to fit your palm, and it feels extremely well built. It's even dual SIM compatible, but sadly there's no microSD support and no water resistance either, which is really frustrating on a self-proclaimed flagship killer. There's also no fancy curved screen or longer than usual aspect ratio. OnePlus just doesn't have the resources. But there is one feature the 5 has that other phones don't, and I'd take it over crazy display tech any day. The alert slider on the side works a lot like the mute switch on an iPhone, but you get 3 profiles with a lot of flexibility. You can really customize each setting to do exactly what you want. It's so fast and convenient that it's honestly kind of made every other phone a little frustrating to use by comparison. Back to the display, it's a 5.5-inch AMOLED panel, and even though it's only 1080p, it still looks great. Plenty sharp for most people, and it's able to get both bright enough for the outdoors and dim enough for late night reading. Something I should mention though, a number of users have noticed what they're calling a jelly effect on the display when scrolling. There's plenty of articles and videos showing what that looks like, but honestly, I haven't had any issues on mine. Knock on wood. Now, that jelly effect can sometimes happen on low-end hardware, but there's nothing low-end about the OnePlus 5. In fact, I don't know of any phones with better overall specs. A Snapdragon 835, Adreno 540 GPU, 128GB of storage, and an insane 8GB of RAM. That last part sounds like overkill, I know, and maybe it is, but I've never used a phone that so effortlessly switches between so many running apps at once. This thing is as fast as a Pixel, and crazy enough, the software is even better, at least in my opinion. It looks like stock Android, but the 5 is actually using OnePlus's in-house Oxygen OS on top of Nougat version 7.1.1. I love how customizable everything is. You can change the colors of the UI, switch between on-screen and capacitive buttons, set shortcuts for the fingerprint sensor, it just goes on and on. One of Oxygen OS's signature features is the shelf to the left of the home screen, which holds widgets and the weather. It's not Google Now, and a few custom launchers offer similar features, but it's nice to see it baked into the default launcher. Now, OnePlus itself will tell you that their cameras have always been a bit of a setback, but they put a lot of work and a lot of hype into their new dual camera system on the OnePlus 5, and photos look really good. The setup is pretty much identical to the iPhone 7 Plus. There's a standard lens and a companion telephoto lens that gives you a 1.6x optical zoom. With a little punching in, OnePlus says you can get 2x lossless zoom, and just like on the iPhone, you can use the lenses together in portrait mode for some artificial depth of field. The end result isn't really any better or worse than on the iPhone, but overall it's still just not very realistic. I really liked the front camera though, which is 16 megapixels just like the rear camera and just looks really sharp and detailed. I've also been really happy with the OnePlus 5's battery life, at least after a few updates. For the first few days, I was surprised at how quickly my unit was dying compared to my Galaxy S8, even though they have about the same battery capacity. I've gotten 3 software updates in the past week of my testing though, and the battery life has gotten better with each one. Now it's easily able to last me through the day, and if I still find myself in a pinch, the included dash charger is the fastest way I've ever charged a phone, getting me from 0 to over 80% in just about an hour. So what's the verdict? The OnePlus 5 is the company's most expensive phone yet, and that's okay. Look, if you want a budget phone within the original OnePlus One's price range, there are plenty of great options out there already. But phones like the Moto G aren't flagship killers, and at the end of the day, with the OnePlus 5 you're getting better specs and faster performance than just about any other phone on the market, and still saving a few bills in the process.